Claressa Shields is a genius at one specific thing, and by the end of this video that statement is going to sit way heavier than it does right now. And before we take another step into it, I hope every single one of you watching is doing well, because for the marathon of crash-outs we are about to walk through today, we might as well start the show on a good note. Happy whatever day this is finding you, I hope you are winning at life a little bit, and hey, this is going to be an interesting one. Maybe one of the wildest breakdowns I have ever put together on the internet. So you already know what to do before we go any deeper. Smash that like button and really leave those likes, because I want every single one of us standing shoulder to shoulder while we say what a lot of platforms are too scared to say. And I'm not going to spoil the rest of what I mean by that. It'll all click into place a little further in. Also, while you are at it, do me one more solid and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next chapter of this saga, because the next chapter is coming faster than any of us think. Now, the good vibes have to pause for a second, because what we have to sit with today, what actually threads this whole story together, is the sitting champion of the ring, the loudest voice in her own comment section, the woman who runs one single play on every person in her life. Yes. That is what this has boiled down to. Claressa Shields is fighting on three fronts right now, and the same little pattern is showing up in all three of them, and once you see it, you are not going to be able to unsee it. Her man situation, her family situation, and the actual boxer sharpening her fists in a real gym while Claressa is sharpening captions online. Same move. Every time. And I need you locked in for this, because this pattern is not some random accusation from a hater blog. It is the through line of her entire public life for the last 24 months. Alright, let me tell you exactly what the pattern is, and please pay attention here, because if you catch this early, the rest of this video is going to land like a knockout. The pattern is simple. Claressa Shields loves to point the finger. Anybody who so much as tilts their head at her, they are jealous, they are fake, they are bitter, they are haters, they are broke, they are washed. She has a label preloaded for every critic before that critic even finishes their sentence. But the twist, and this is the part that flipped my whole read on this woman, is that Claressa does the exact thing she is accusing everybody else of. The subliminals. The shade. The clout moves. The pot stirring. The trash talking about people who did not say her name that morning. She throws a rock, tucks the hand behind her back, and then goes on live crying about why the world is attacking her. Nobody is attacking her. She is being answered. And the difference between those two things is the entire universe. Because in my experience, whatever a person points at the loudest is almost always the exact thing they are the most guilty of themselves. It is a defense mechanism as old as human beings. You accuse everybody else of being fake before anybody has time to check whether you are fake. You scream messy at the room so nobody realizes you brought the mess. Claressa screams fake at the world while running one of the fakest plays in the modern celebrity playbook. Victim by daylight. Villain by nightfall. And a fresh label ready to slap on anybody who has the nerve to notice. Every finger she points, three of them are pointing straight back at her. And nowhere, and I mean absolutely nowhere, does this show up louder than in the situation with the man she is currently posting 6 times a day about. Which brings us to the centerpiece of this whole story, the receipt that this entire video was built for, and honestly the receipt that half the internet has been too polite to say out loud. Remember, and please really remember, how hard Claressa Shields came for Remy Ma. Remy was the messy one. Remy was the liar. Remy was the villain of that whole marriage. Claressa sat in public judgment of that entire union like she was floating 3 feet above the ground, immune to the mess she was describing. And then, and this is the plot twist that people are still choking on, Claressa turned right around and started dating Papoose. A man whose divorce from Remy Ma is still not finalized. Still. Legally. Married. She condemned the fire, walked directly into the burning house, and started picking out drapes. She judged the marriage, then moved into it from the other side of the bed. That is not a coincidence. That is not a technicality. That is a full-on contradiction of everything she stood on when she was dragging Remy. And you cannot, you absolutely cannot, call a woman messy for her marriage drama and then build your entire love story inside the unfinished paperwork of that same marriage. The papers are not signed. That is not an opinion, that is public record. That is not love from where I am sitting. That is hypocrisy with a ring light on top of it and a highlight reel underneath it. The exact same tangled situation she mocked Remy Ma for being stuck in, Claressa Shields is now tangled in herself, just standing on the other side of the mattress. And watch how she over-defends this, because this is the tell. My man, my man, my man, twice on a Sunday, 3 times on a Monday, 4 times before breakfast on Tuesday. Every live stream, every comment section, every post-fight interview, she is out here reminding the world how solid, how stable, how unbreakable, how permanent this thing is. But here is what I need you to internalize, and this one applies to your own life, not just Claressa Shields. Truly solid people almost never have to announce their solidity every 12 hours. When somebody is that loud about how happy they are, that consistent about the volume of the reassurance, sometimes they are not actually convincing us. Sometimes they are convincing themselves. Sometimes the mirror at home is asking a question and the caption on the internet is trying to answer it before anybody else can. Now, there are whispers of cheating swirling all around this thing too, but that part is alleged, that part is unconfirmed, and Claressa flatly denies it. So I am leaving that piece right there, exactly where it belongs, in the alleged column. The point of this entire segment is not the rumor. The point is much simpler and much heavier than a rumor. Claressa Shields judged a house, then moved into that same house, and now wants everybody to pretend she did not judge it in the first place. That is the receipt. That is not going anywhere. And no amount of my man captioning is going to burn that receipt. Now, let me pull the camera back a little bit, because if this pattern only showed up with Papoose, you could almost argue coincidence. You could squint hard enough and pretend love makes people irrational. Fine. But the whole reason this video exists is because it is not just Papoose. It is not just the Remy Ma situation. It is the exact same choreography playing out in her own bloodline. Because Claressa Shields has had public, messy, unmistakable fallouts with her own family. Her sister. Her cousins. People who share her last name, her childhood, her hometown, the same come-up story she puts in every single interview. And what is the narrative every single time one of these fallouts hits the timeline? Say it with me. My success made them jealous. They cannot handle my shine. They only want me because of the money. They forgot who I was before the belts. It is always the family that is wrong. It is always the family that is bitter. It is always Claressa Shields the martyr and them the villains. Now, hold on, because I do not want to be lazy here. Stella style is fair, and I want to keep it 100 with you for 1 second. Families do get jealous. Success genuinely does change people. Money brings out the ugly in a lot of relationships. That part is not made up. That part is very, very real. I have seen it in my own life, I have seen it in yours, we have all seen it. But here is the question that just refuses to sit down. When your man's estranged wife is telling a certain kind of story about you, and your own sister is telling a certain kind of story about you, and your own cousins are telling a certain kind of story about you, and your fiercest rival in the ring is telling a certain kind of story about you, all of these people from completely different corners of your life, people who do not know each other, people who have never sat at the same table, all landing somewhere similar, you have to at some point sit yourself down in an empty room and ask yourself the hardest question anybody can ask. What is the one common denominator standing in every single one of those rooms? Because it cannot be everybody else, every time, in every single situation, for 4 straight years. That is not how life works. And while Claressa Shields is out here defending herself on 3 separate fronts with just her thumbs and a phone, the 4th front, the one that actually matters, the one that decides whether the belts stay on her waist or migrate to somebody else's, that 4th front is loading up in silence. Because there is a ticking clock in this story that nobody in her comment section war seems to hear. And I need to talk about her before we lose the thread. Her name is Alycia Baumgardner. Alycia Baumgardner is not tweeting. Alycia Baumgardner is not going live. Alycia Baumgardner is in the gym. Training. Sharpening. Preparing. Because while Claressa Shields is running 12 simultaneous internet battles, Alycia Baumgardner is running one battle that pays a lot more than a viral tweet ever will. And this, honey, this is the front that actually matters. Because you can win every single comment section war on this entire planet, you can dust every subliminal, you can drag every cousin, you can post every my man selfie, and you can still, somehow, get knocked out in a real ring on a real night when a real bell rings and a real right hand comes. Alycia has been calling Claressa Shields out loudly. She has been posting the training footage. She has been carrying that I am coming for your belt energy for a while now. And in the backdrop of all of it, please do not forget, because everybody keeps sanitizing this timeline, the heat between them detonated after their in-person altercation, after MVP banned Claressa Shields from their events, after the legal threat started leaking. This is not internet noise anymore. This is her legacy line. This is her belt. This is her name in the record books. This is what the belts were for. So here is the real math, and this is where I need you to hear me all the way through. Every single hour Claressa Shields spends crashing out online, typing paragraphs at ghosts, screenshotting comments, replying to fan pages, dragging people who do not even matter to the actual title fight, is another hour Alycia Baumgardner spends getting better, faster, hungrier, and closer. One of these two women is fighting for the clout. The other one is fighting for a championship and a paycheck. And when that bell rings on fight night, I promise you this on everything, not a single one of those Instagram clapbacks is going to block a right hand coming down the pipe. Not one. In this economy, honey, only one of those two things actually pays out. And that leads us directly into the thing sitting underneath every single beat of this entire drama, the piece that ties the bow, the piece that most people are missing while they argue over the surface stuff. The double standard. Because Claressa Shields wants every single ounce of grace that she absolutely refuses to give to anybody else. She can shade you, sub you, drag you, screenshot you, call you fake, call you jealous, call you a hater, call you washed, call you broke, put you in her live for entertainment. But the very moment you say one syllable back, oh, now you are a hater. Now you are jealous. Now you are the villain. Now you are a bad person. Now the internet is bullying her. Rules for you, never for me. And that is the definition of hypocrisy, and I do not use that word lightly on this channel, but the shoe fits so hard on this one that it is almost embarrassing. And now let me keep it 100 with you for one more second before we go home, because I do not run a pile-on channel. I run a truth channel. And there is a real, uncomfortable other half of this story that I refuse to skip. Some of the heat this woman gets is straight up unfair. People drag her looks. People drag her voice. People drag her body. People question her femininity. People go at her in ways that have absolutely nothing to do with her behavior, her hypocrisy, or her pattern. And that stuff, I need to be crystal clear here, is not criticism. That is cruelty. That is misogyny cosplaying as commentary. That is a bunch of grown adults hiding behind avatars, going at a woman for the way she was born, and I will not, ever, co-sign that on this channel. Nobody deserves that treatment. Champion, civilian, anybody. And the internet has a bad habit of forgetting that there is a real, breathing human being on the other side of every one of those quote tweets, reading every single word before she goes to sleep. But, and this is the grown-up truth that the internet cannot seem to hold in its head at the same time, you can be treated unfairly and also be doing exactly the thing you condemn other people for doing. Both of those things can be true at the exact same moment. Being dragged unfairly does not erase the hypocrisy of the pattern. And the hypocrisy of the pattern does not excuse the cruelty of the drag. Two truths, standing side by side, refusing to cancel each other out. That is where grown people live. That is the neighborhood where this whole conversation actually has to happen if we are going to get anywhere. And once you can hold both of those things in your hand at the same time, you can look at this Claressa Shields story with clear eyes and stop pretending you have to pick one team. So let me stitch this whole thing together for you, because at this point in the video, we have covered a lot of ground. We have got a pattern of playing the perpetual victim while casting every single other human being as the perpetual villain. We have got the Remy Ma hypocrisy, where Claressa Shields judged an entire marriage on the internet and then quietly, or not so quietly, moved into that same marriage before the paperwork was even signed. We have got a family fallout situation that is somehow always somebody else's fault, no matter how many family members line up on the same side of the story. We have got a real, credentialed, hungry fighter loading up in a real gym while Claressa Shields is at war with a comment section that will not remember her name in 3 weeks. And we have got a double standard that lets her dish out exactly the kind of energy she cannot take back when the internet returns the favor. And here is why every second of this matters, and why I bothered to make an entire video about it instead of a 2-minute reel. You cannot, in the year we are living in, keep calling the whole world fake while quietly running the exact same plays yourself. You cannot keep announcing that everybody else is the problem while every relationship in your life keeps ending the same way. Sooner or later, and it is always sooner than we think, the mirror talks back. That is what mirrors do. And Claressa Shields is very quickly reaching the part of the story where the mirror is not asking a question anymore, the mirror is making a statement. The only question left is whether she is going to hear it before the bell rings, or after. Now let me push this a little further, because I know some of you are already typing the comment. You are going to say, well, she is a champion, she has earned the right to be loud, she has bled in that ring, she has broken records nobody in her division has broken. And you are right about the accomplishments. Absolutely right. The resume is not the argument. Nobody is trying to strip her medals. The argument is that a resume does not immunize you from being asked to live by the same rules you enforce on other people. You can be the best in the world at your job and still be running a hypocritical script off the clock. Those two facts are not in conflict. They walk together. And pretending that the belts erase the pattern is exactly the kind of grace Claressa Shields would never, in a million years, extend to Remy Ma, to her sister, to a cousin, to Alycia Baumgardner, or to anybody else in this story. So the belts do not erase the receipt. Nothing erases the receipt. The receipt is the receipt. And listen, I want to zoom in on one more thing before we wrap, because I keep seeing people online treat the Papoose piece like it is a soft, private, none of our business situation. And I get it. Grown people date grown people. Adults are allowed to move on. But nobody, and I mean nobody, made this a private situation. Claressa Shields made it public. She made it a live stream. She made it a caption. She made it a highlight reel. She made it a whole personality trait. And once you put your relationship in the middle of the arena is allowed to ask questions. That is the trade. That is the contract you sign when you monetize your love life. And the question the arena is asking is very simple and very fair. How can you spend one full news cycle mocking a woman for the mess of an unfinished marriage, and the next news cycle building a new love story out of that exact same unfinished marriage? That is not a gotcha. That is a math problem. And Claressa Shields does not have the math to solve it. Nobody would. There is no math. So here is the last thing I want to leave with you, the piece I want you to actually take into your Sunday and your Monday and your comment section. Watch how many people in your own life run this same play. Watch how many people around you scream fake at everybody else while running the fakest routine in the room. Watch how many people announce their happiness every single hour on the hour, and then live in a quiet chaos behind closed doors. Watch how many people have the same fight, with the same enemy energy, in every single relationship they have ever been in. That is not everybody else being wrong every single time. That is a pattern with an address. And the address is always the same house. Same porch. Same front door. Same mirror waiting inside. So the T channel wants to know what your verdict is. Team she is a hypocrite who dishes exactly what she cannot take. Team she is one woman getting jumped by an entire internet mob that has forgotten she is human. Or team both things are true at the same time and grown people are allowed to hold both of them without picking a jersey. Drop your verdict in the comments, drop it loud, drop it early, because the algorithm is watching and the algorithm loves a fired up comments section, and honestly, so do I. And while you are down there, real talk, does Alycia Baumgardner actually stand a legitimate shot at that belt when the bell finally rings, or is Claressa Shields going to shut every single mouth in one night the way she has done to so many before? Give me your prediction. Give me your reasoning. Give me the round. Give me the finish. Because this fight, the real one, the one in the ring, is closer than a lot of people think, and this comments section is about to be the pre-show. And listen, if you made it all the way to this point in the video, you already know what to do. You are the reason this channel eats. Smash the like, hit that subscribe button if you have not already, share this thing with one friend who needs to see the pattern, and honestly, share it with two, because everybody knows a Claressa in their own life. That is the truth of it. Everybody knows a person who runs this exact play. And if you want to keep sitting in the tea while it is still hot, stick around for the next one, because I have got a whole follow-up brewing on the Alycia Baumgardner side of this thing that is going to make some of what I said today look mild. I mean that. Pick whatever suggested video is glowing on your screen right now, and I will meet you in that one. The tea stays hot. The mirror keeps talking. And I will see you on the next one.